Good morning, students. So today it is the seventh session, of the chapter Human Reproduction. So we'll continue with the topic embryonic development of the embryo, or that is embryogenesis. So today we'll discuss placenta formation, then formation of the embryonic layers, then the important developmental changes that occur during gestation period and parturition. Okay, so first, now let us come to placenta formation. Now after implantation, finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast, and these are called chorionic villi. Okay, these are called chorionic villi. Villi, all of you know, is a finger-like projections, right? So what happens? This is the blastocyst, and these are the cells of Robert. That means this part is attached to the endometrium. Okay, this is the trophoblast, part of the trophoblast. Here we are these are the inner cell mass. Okay, this is the inner cell mass, and it is this part is, if you remember, this is the uterine lining, and it is this gets embedded in the uterine endometrium. So this is implantation. Now after this, what happens from here? These cells, the cells which are in touch with the endometrium, of the trophoblast. So what happens here? These cells, they form finger-like projections. These are finger-like projections are formed. From the trophoblast, what happens? Finger-like projections are formed, and these finger-like projections, they get interdigitated. This is the uterine tissue of the mother. So it seems as if they have got interdigitated. Interdigitated digit matlab ungliyan, right? So if you think this is the, let's suppose this is the trophoblast layer. Okay, cells of the trophoblast. If you see, this is, suppose I draw it like this, that these are the trophoblast layer. Okay, and these are the finger like projections. So do we call them as chorionic villi? Okay, these are the chorionic villi. Let's suppose villi finger like structure. Okay, this is the trophoblast. Okay, this is the trophoblast. These are the chorionic villi. This is the inner cell mass. This is the inner cell mass. Okay, now what happens? This is the uterine endometrium. This is the endometrium. So what happens? Finger-like projections are formed from the trophoblast, and they get interdigitated this side. Okay, these fingers of this hand, that is my right hand. This is the endometrium tissue. Okay, so what happens? They get interdigitated, and a structural and functional unit is formed, which is known as the placenta. This is known as the placenta. Okay, so after implantation, finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast called chorionic villi. Okay, so you can see this is the trophoblast, this is a finger-like projection. The chorionic villi and uterine tissue means it is the endometrium, become interdigitated. Digits means fingers, with each other, and jointly form together the entire structure. This structure. This structure form a structural and functional unit called placenta. Now what are the functions of placenta? Number one, it acts as a nutritive organ for the embryo or the fetus. That means what happens? Nutrition from the body of the mother, it reaches the embryo through the placenta. Then respiratory organ for the embryo or the fetus. So exchange of O2 and CO2. So fetus receives oxygen from maternal blood and passes CO2 to maternal blood. Then excretion, the fetal excretory product, the waste products that are generated during the development of the fetus, diffuse into maternal blood. They enter into the maternal blood through the placenta. And apart from that, these three all of you know. In class 10 also you read. Here, this one, it's an endocrine organ. It also acts as an endocrine organ and secretes the hormones. You will remember the name. This time it was there in the exam. HCG. They had asked to write names of two placental hormones. So, HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. HPL, human placental lactogen. Apart from that, estrogens and progestogens are also secreted by the placenta. Okay. Then we come across the formation of embryonic layers. Okay. So this is the embryonal knob. Okay. Here's the paper. So this is the embryonal knob or the inner cell mass. Okay. Now these cells. Okay. These cells. Now what happens? They divide. They continue to divide and form. They arrange themselves in the form of three layers. Okay. Three layers are formed. Okay. So after implantation, the inner cell mass differentiate into three layers. Ectoderm outer layer, mesoderm middle layer and endoderm inner layer. Okay, so you read in class 11, recall, we have triploblastic animals and diploblastic animals. Diploblastic animals have ectoderm and endoderm. Triploblastic animals, they have a layer between ectoderm and endoderm known as the middle layer. Okay, so this is three layers are formed, that is ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. The layers form all types of these three layers. Okay, from these three layers only all the different types of tissues and organs are formed in the body of an adult. Okay, then within the inner cell mass, some cells are present which have the capacity to give rise to all the types of body cells or tissues. They are known as stem cells. You must have heard about stem cell research, and nowadays many celebrities have kept the stem cells of their children, okay, of their babies, okay, they have stored the stem cells, okay. So stem cells, the inner cell mass has certain cells which have the potency means capacity, okay, to give rise to all the tissues and organs. These cells are called stem cells, okay, they are known as stem cells. Then next we come to the important developmental changes that occur in human embryo during gestation period. Okay, so what is gestation period? Okay, the duration of pregnancy, that is from conception to childbirth in human beings, is known as gestation period. Okay, so the duration of pregnancy. So from conception, that means from fertilization to the formation of the complete child, okay, so up to childbirth is known as gestation period. It lasts for 9 months. 9 months is given in your book, but it can be 9 plus minus 7 days, okay, or roughly 10 days. So pregnancy is arbitrarily divided into 3-month periods called trimesters. First trimester, second trimester and third trimester, 9 months, okay. So divided into 3 trimesters. Then let us see the important changes that occur in embryo, okay, during gestation period. Now after 1 month of pregnancy, heart is formed and heart sounds can be heard with a stethoscope. Okay, after first month of pregnancy, heart is formed in the fetus. The fetus heart is formed. Okay, so it is a fetus heart. Fetus heart is formed and heart sounds can be heard in the with the help of stethoscope. Then End of second month of pregnancy. By the end of second month of pregnancy, limbs and digits are formed. Okay, limbs, that is the hands, okay, arm and legs are formed, and digits, fingers are formed. Then at the end of third month of pregnancy, that is the first trimester, end of first trimester, major organs like limbs, external genitalia are formed. Fifth month, okay, during fifth month, movement of the fetus, okay, is observed. Okay, the fetus starts moving. Okay, it shows movement, and hair on the head, appearance of hair on the head during fifth month. Then at the end of 6 month, that is second trimester, body hair, okay, fine hair appear on the body, that's the body hair is formed. Eyelids separate, okay, eyelids separate and eyelashes are formed. And by the end of ninth month, that is third trimester, okay, that is third trimester, okay, the development is completed, the fetus is fully developed and ready for the delivery. Okay, so the process of giving birth to a child, it is fully developed fetus. The process of giving birth or delivering a fully developed fetus, it is known as parturition. So parturition refers to the birth or birth of or delivery of the fetus at the end of gestation period. So delivery of the fully developed fetus, okay, it is development of delivery of fully developed, not immature, okay, developed fetus, okay, of developed fetus at the end of gestation period. Now parturition is induced. How parturition takes place, right? So what helps in expelling the child out of the uterus, okay? So what is the mechanism behind expelling the child, a fully developed fetus, out of the uterus? So the parturition is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism, okay, neuroendocrine, that means hormones as well as nerves, that involves cortisol, estrogen and oxytocin. Okay, so this is the hormone. Oxytocin is very clearly mentioned in your book. Now the signals of parturition arise from the fully developed fetus and the placenta. So when the fetus is completely developed, right, at that time what happens, a kind of, okay, stimulus comes from the fetus as well as the placenta, and this, due to this, okay, stimulus, what happens, the uterus, myometrium, okay, the uterus, wall of the uterus, so it is the smooth muscles are present in the myometrium, so it starts contracting, okay, this smooth, okay, this is the myometrium. Here you have smooth muscles and they are actually responsible for contraction of the uterus at the time of childbirth. So what happens? The myometrium or the uterine wall, it starts contracting under the influence, okay, because of a stimulus coming from the fetus and the placenta, fully developed fetus and the placenta. So they induce mild uterine contractions, okay. So initially what happens, the contractions are mild, okay, they are mild, M-I-L-D, mild, okay, and so this is known as fetal. This mild contractions of the uterine wall induced by a fully developed fetus and the placenta are known as fetal ejection reflex. Now due to fetal ejection reflex, what happens? Oxytocin is released from posterior lobe of the pituitary. Okay, so oxytocin, so which triggers the release of oxytocin from the posterior pituitary of the mother. Remember, you have to write of the mother. Okay, not of the fetus, of the mother. So oxytocin, which hormone? Oxytocin. Oxytocin is known as childbirth as well as and milk ejection hormone. This is also known as milk ejection hormone you must have read in class 11. Okay, it's known as childbirth hormone, birth hormone, and milk ejection hormone. Otherwise, we also call it as love hormone. Okay, so which triggers the release of oxytocin from the posterior pituitary of the mother. Remember, oxytocin acts on the uterine muscles, that is myometrium, and causes stronger contractions. So, under the influence of oxytocin, the the myometrium, it starts contracting, okay, fast. Okay, so as the contractions become stronger, okay, initially it is mild, okay, slow. Then what happens? That is fetal ejection reflex. This stimulates the pituitary gland of the mother to release oxytocin. Now, under the influence of oxytocin, the contractions become stronger. As the contractions become stronger, this causes release of more oxytocin from the pituitary gland of the mother, and that again results in consequence more stronger contractions. So this continues, okay, this continues. So oxytocin acts on the uterine muscles and causes stronger contractions, which in turn stimulates release of more oxytocin. So more oxytocin, more stronger contractions, more stronger contractions, more oxytocin, more oxytocin, more and more stronger contractions. Okay, so the stimulatory reflex between the uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, okay, and results in stronger and stronger contractions of uterine muscles, leading to the expulsion of the developed fetus from the uterus through the birth canal. Okay, that is, so this process is known as parturition. Birth canal, the cervix, and the vagina together is known as the birth canal. Okay, so and the process is known as parturition. It is followed by the expulsion. So once the fetus comes out, the placenta and the remains of the umbilical cord also comes out. So you can see here fetus inside the womb. Fine, this is the fetus inside the womb. Now in this diagram, I told you here, in this diagram, implantation was shown on this wall, okay, but here you find placenta is here. So I told you very clearly that it is not specific. Implantation will occur on the endometrium, but it's not necessarily here or here, anywhere. Okay, so here what happens, this is the placenta, and this is the endometrium, which forms a covering, okay, around the blastocyst. So this part, it is known as decidua basalis. There are 3 layers covering decidua basalis, okay. Then this covering, it is known as decidua capsularis. These are not given in your book, but the diagram is given, okay. Diagram, the layers and all, it is given in the book. Labeling is not there, okay. I have marked the ones which are labeled in your NCERT book, okay. So and this layer, it is known as it completely covers the uterus. So this is known as decidua paritalis. This is the embryo, this is the placenta, and between placenta and the embryo there is the umbilical cord. Okay, between the fetus and the placenta there is the umbilical cord. These are the vessels, blood vessels. So veins and arteries both are there. This is known as yolk sac. Okay, this is known as the yolk sac. Yolk sac, in the yolk sac, initially blood cells are found in the yolk sac. Okay, this is the uterine cavity. Here what happens, so long as the fetal development is taking place, the cervix, okay, the cervical canal remains plugged, okay, it remains plugged with mucus. So it is a plug of mucus in cervix, it remains closed, okay. So this is the human fetus within the uterus, okay. Then next is lactation. So by the end of the pregnancy, from the mammary glands, milk is secreted under the influence of the hormone prolactin. Okay, the mammary glands undergo certain changes during pregnancy under the influence of hormones like prolactin. They start producing milk towards the end of pregnancy, which is released from the mammary glands by the action of oxytocin. So that is, I told you, this is the milk ejection hormone. Okay, oxytocin is known as milk ejection hormone. That is why it is known as. Okay, so oxytocin, how it acts? Okay, it's not given in the book. Just to tell you, oxytocin causes what? Contraction of muscles, smooth muscles. Just like in the uterus, it also results in contraction of the ducts, mammary ducts. Okay, and therefore milk comes out. Now, next is colostrum. So, the milk produced during initial few days of lactation, that immediately after the childbirth, the milk that is produced, secreted from the mammary gland, it is a little yellowish in color, okay, and it is known as the colostrum. Okay, this is known as colostrum. You will remember it. Okay. Now this colostrum is very rich in nutrients and it contains an antibody known as IgA. Okay, this contains an antibody IgA, hence it provides passive immunity to the child. Okay, since the immune system of the child is not well developed at the time of birth, so therefore what happens, so long as the child is fed with mother's milk, right, the child gets prepared antibodies from the mother's body. Okay, so therefore it is known as passive immunity, and when antibodies are produced by our own immune system, then it is known as active immunity. So since colostrum is very rich in the antibody IgA, and therefore what happens, the child gets passive immunity. Okay, so passive immunity, that means resistance against different diseases, okay, infectious diseases. So colostrum, it is rich in nutrients and it provides passive immunity due to presence of antibody IgA. Okay, so the diagrams here, okay, you can see the diagrams. Okay, today I have shown you this diagram. So this diagram, it is given in NCERT book. Okay, it is given in NCERT book. I am projecting it. You can pause your video and see the diagrams. Okay, and then this is the disk. This is also given. Okay, right? Okay, thank you so much. So I will upload the assignment questions, okay, from this chapter. Okay, till then, okay, very soon I will be uploading within a day or two, and I will go to the next chapter also. So thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for being patient and listening to me. Okay, thank you.